A lot of people don't know that shit. A lot of people don't even know. I don't even think that exists anymore. The CIA work-study program, you go to school at 7:30 in the morning and you basically stay there till 11:30. It's like 5 classes. Gym, CIE, something else. CIE counts for 15 credits. You could get into the CIA work-study program when you're a sophomore year. I got in it in the middle of my sophomore year. The Balzanos got me a job. Political Pete was taking a different job, so Political Pete wanted me to take the job so I could fucking keep the stealing up, because he knew once he quit that they would know how much plywood and lumber he was taking, so he's like, you got to keep it up, dude. I'll give you some accounts, just give me a taste. Okay. So I knew all I knew all these motherfuckers. In fact, there was a cemetery across the street where my mother's buried. You know how many times I went up and down that fucking block? And I would never walk on the cemetery side. I would always walk across the street from the cemetery, and I would make sure I was looking up. I would never even look at the cemetery. That's how much of a pussy I am when it comes to fucking spooks and goblins and all that shit. I still sleep with a night light on. There's got to be a little light in my fucking room. All these people, I turn it black. I put shields on. I don't want to see no fucking shields, because if I'm getting choked, I can't see you in the middle of fucking night. I was around with Rick Ramirez. That motherfucker was breaking into your house and choking you and taking your eyeballs and shit. He ain't doing that shit to me, dog. Remember that company that sponsored me for a while? They used to send those sleep lens. I did it for like a month, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't feel uncomfortable. I kept having to pull the fucking Zorro mask up with the sleep apnea mask, so it wasn't for me. So when I took the CIA work-study program, I had the Rendell Lumber job. When Rendell Lumber fired me, I had no other choice. And then I used to see Anthony there at the CIA work-study program because he had other young kids in the program. So I just told him, dog, you got to sign me up. So he would sign you in that you worked. You had to work maybe 4 days a week. That's the requirement. Maybe 3 days part-time from 12 to 5. And I still remember like telling Anthony in the beginning, listen, I don't mind cleaning bathrooms. I don't mind vacuuming offices. A lot of vacuuming there. A lot of vacuuming offices, scrubbing walls. I'll do anything. Just don't, put me around the bodies. And he's like, sure. But he probably knew in the back of his head the evolution of the funeral business, that the more you're around it, you got to get closer to the fucking body. The bodies are there. You got to adjust chairs. So there were nights we were putting out chairs and stuff. The body's already being laid out. So little by little, I started taking peeks at the body. You know what I'm saying? And I would like catch myself and go, ugh! And I would run the fuck out of there. Like, I can't deal with this shit. And then finally, like one night, he's like, hey man, we got to go pick up a body. And we went, I worked for him. What am I going to do? We had to pick the body up at JFK Airport because people from this area move to Florida, they die, and then they come back to fucking, when they die, they want to be buried back up here with their loved ones. I don't know how many fucking days. We went to all those airports, Newark, Kennedy, and he had me, Glenn Conti on the roster. He probably, Sharples, who's still there, Jimmy Lebrano. He had all of us, man. This was like the perfect fucking job. It was part-time. He would let me work nights sometimes till 8 o'clock at night. But that job, having that job, overcome my fear to being around fucking bodies. Even when I go to the cemetery, I would go in the back door of the cemetery, like not a door, like a back fence, because it was a shorter distance to my mother. I would never take because I didn't want to be caught the fuck in there. That's how now I walk through the fucking cemetery. And it's because of Anthony. Because of picking up and being around, dead bodies, But the fucking clinker was Michael Jackson was playing at the Meadowlands, 1985, the Victory Tour. Anthony had 4 tickets. He was gracious enough to take me. At that time, Anthony was my, I was down and out, guys, and he would take care of me. I slept on his pool table. He was a great friend. He still is a great friend. I'm lucky to fucking have him, but we were going to fucking Michael Jackson, and we were in a rush to get to the Meadowlands. And we had to pick up a body in Kennedy Airport in a hearse, and we came back. And I ran in first because I had to get on the phone. Somebody had paged me. I ran in. Then the garage door opened. And then they have rollers, and you just, one person could do it, really. Just pull the body off, and the wheels come down automatically, and then, well, by mistake, when he pulled the reel down, the body was rolling towards me, and I didn't even know it. And when I turned, the body hit me, and the guys had a, thing on it, but I saw, like, from the impact that hit me, his little mouth opened up. Guys, I wanted to fucking die right there. Die. That don't happen to most people. And I was like, that's it. My funeral fucking parlor days are coming to an end. But that right there, that's something that would have fucking killed me when I was, 3 years before that, 4 years before that. So at that time, it was, it worked. But I'm sitting there daydreaming about all this shit. And people like, hi, how are you? And I'm like, hold on 1 second. Let me finish my fucking daydream. Because it was tremendous. It all, it's like a fucking well of information that came in. And I'm like, wow.
Did you go to the concert after that?
That day? Oh, yeah. We went to the Michael Jackson concert like we owned that motherfucker. Yeah. The Jacksons were there for 8 nights. Then there was a break for 2 days. Then Bruce Springsteen was coming in for 9 nights. This was, July of 84. That's how back we go, So it was great just to open up my mind to that. I hadn't thought about that in years, all the fucking hustling and just being in that place. It was one of the best jobs I ever had. It taught me a lot. It taught me detail. That job taught me how to detail. People don't want to come in. That's why that dude was so picky about the hairs and shit. People paying for a funeral. And he did. Guys, I've never met anybody that had a bad experience there. As a matter of fact, I got my little fucking tub of candy and shit. Yeah, Venereal Funeral Home, North Bergen, New Jersey. My brother, he gave me in '93, every year he gives something. Like when I went up there yesterday, I brought some pens back. I gave my daughter a pen this morning to take to school. Give this to your teacher just in case. I always use his calendars. For years, I would only use his calendar. His calendar was my comedy calendar, the Venereal Funeral Parlor. I asked him, yes, you got a calendar for me? He gave me that. Nice. But it's fucking crazy. He gave me a bag. When you, at the end of the funeral, you have all these mass cards and stuff, and you put them in a bag. Well, Venereal made a Venereal Funeral Home bag. And I didn't, he gave it to me one day, and I didn't think about it. And then all of a sudden I got a job in the city, and I'm like, fuck it. And I would get on the train with that little bag, and people look at me and go,